2. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to the Wisdom Within conversation this week. And we've got to welcome Miss Maple as well, who's draped around your shoulders. Your beautiful cat. This is her usual place. So, Catherine.
Marion, I just show up as I am. And sometimes it's with this cat because, yeah, this is what she likes to do.
She does. And I love it too. So she's welcome in the conversation as well. But so today, what I really wanted to talk to you about was passion and purpose. And the reason that I want to talk to you about that is that I often hear from people, and I guess I was like it when I was much, much younger, that they'll be happy when they find their passion and purpose. And I thought it'd be great to explore what does that actually mean, passion and purpose, but also where we look for it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah, I really, nice to be here, Marion. So thanks for inviting me once again. I always enjoy our conversations. I enjoy the time to reflect on the topics that you choose as well, because that's always, there's always something rich for me. And this is a topic really that has been really important to me over the course of my lifetime. And oh gosh, I'm just pausing because I wonder where to start with it. Because what I'm seeing, I'm just going to talk about what I'm seeing now. And hopefully that will resonate or be helpful to people, because I have come to see that on my own journey, like the tendency is to compare what someone else is doing with what I'm doing, and the idea of passion and purpose is no exception to that. So when I see someone out there in the world who seems really aligned with their passion and purpose, and they've got a big presence, and they seem to be helping all sorts of people, right away there's a comparison that takes place in my mind with my very ordinary, humble, perhaps looking life. But I want to speak to what I've discovered for myself. It is that my passion and purpose isn't out there. That when I'm really living authentically, and when I'm really living from a sense of what's genuinely meaningful to me, my passion and purpose finds me, rather than me trying to create a certain lifestyle or even a certain profession or a certain career. And I think this is going to look a bit different. This is going to look different for each one of us. But for me, the important piece in this is, am I living in a way that's authentic and that feels meaningful to me? And I just want to tell a little story around this. In my own sort of search for that, I wanted to discover what profession I could get into, what career I could get into in order to fulfill my purpose. And what I discovered was, no matter what I'm doing, it's the quality of my presence and my authenticity in connecting with the world around me that creates passion and purpose. So, and what I mean by that is that it doesn't matter what I'm doing for a living. If the quality of my presence is genuine and authentic, my passion and purpose is going to be revealed to me. And I want to say how this looks to me is connecting with other human beings. And as I'm on my own journey, as I share with the people who just happen to cross my path, I can't tell you how many times someone has said to me, Thank you so much. That what you said changed my life. I never saw it that way. And I wasn't trying to do that. So I guess I'm trying to say that really be on your own journey of discovery about how to live an authentic, genuine life, how to be yourself in the world in a genuine and authentic way.
Mm.
And that in doing, if you do that, if you take care of that, your passion and purpose will come from within. It will be revealed to you. Does that make any sense along the way?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
I completely and utterly agree with that. I think that it's incredibly difficult to even feel our passion and purpose when we are so caught up in patterns of behavior that are causing us to have bad relationships and all those sorts of things. You know, we're being a perfectionist, we're being a people pleaser, we're doing all of that. You know, when you're battling that there's no quietness inside of you to have anything being revealed. So I would say, and I have said to clients that that is the first step. The first step is to discover who you are, what you are, and be more connected with that, which leads obviously into authenticity. So yes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, as a coach or as a person who coaches, part-time, because I have to do other things to have an income and make money. But, Marion, along the way in my own journey, like I was really, really committed to this inner sense of um, what is this all about? Like life itself.
Mm,
Like even like I don't know what compels other people to be on a spiritual journey, but I only know that something within me was compelling me to look deeper at the experience of life. I didn't even want to. I wanted to just be satisfied with what everybody else seemed. Why couldn't I just, get married and have a home and a family and be satisfied with that? Why was I always looking deeper?
yeah.
I didn't know the answer to that, but what I realized was that, you know, life itself, sort of this divine universal energy was drawing me to itself because I was living a life that by the time I was a young adult, I really didn't know who I was, w- what I wanted my own life to be about. So I was really living in this conditioned um, place that felt very hollow and empty.
Mm,
And I'd given up any sense of connection, my own sense of authenticity, innocently, really trying to be loved and cared for and appreciated, from a very young age. So my journey as an adult was, um, how do I get reconnected to a more authentic way of being in the world?
yeah.
And when I went on that journey and started to show up in the world as who I am, uh, so when I started to let go of the conditioning that told me who I was supposed to be,
Yeah.
I started to discover in a very ordinary way, but profound way, what it meant to show up in the world
Mm,
authentically and genuinely. And Marion, that started to have an effect on the people around me. Now, that didn't always look positive. Some people wanted me to stay in a very small box, but my own spirit was calling out to me to get out of that box and to go on the grander adventure of life, which included uh, rediscovering
yeah.
what it meant to just be in the world authentically, to drop the mask, to drop the facade, to really genuinely show up in the world. And Marion, that started to impact. So, some people didn't like it. The ones who were fearful and were in their own box wanted me to stay in my box because that felt more comfortable. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I was thirsty. I was hungry for a life that, felt rich and meaningful. And that had to come from within. And I had to develop the courage to step out of the conditioning and go on this exploration. And again, when I did, I found my passion and purpose. It started to show up, right? It started to show up in ways I couldn't have imagined. Um, People started to cross my path.
Yeah.
You know, if you get real and you break out of your own fearful conditioning, at first there you might get some negative feedback, but eventually you start to be nourished from the inside out, and then your light begins to shine a little bit brighter, and then people start to be attracted to that who also want a deeper level of freedom.
Yeah.
You know, so we resonate with one another.
Absolutely.
uh,
The more you
right.
expand, the more you expand, the more you
Yes.
attract people who are expanding, you know. And I remember listening to Marianne Williamson, and in one of her recordings, somebody was saying, you know, what's my passion and purpose? And she said, well, your purpose is to go out as if you are in a ministry. And I realize what she means now, because being authentic, going out into the world authentically and being who you are, and being visible, and not worrying about showing that. And that's what I mean by expansion and expansion. Then everything else seems to start slotting into place. And that isn't going to happen in a week, because some people want it to happen right now. And it very rarely, maybe it has happened to somebody, but I would say very rarely that's going to happen in a week. It's a journey that you go on, that expansion, that
It has been,
discovery.
it certainly has been for me as well.
Yeah.
And you know, Marion, here's the other thing too, is that you know, when we start showing up in a more authentic way, there's something else that's happening in that. Is you know, when I'm authenticity happens effortlessly when I fall out of the personal conditioning that I received at a very early age. Now, you know, when we try to describe that, um, we all get this conditioning that tells us we have to be a particular way to be loved and to be cared for. And it's handed down to us innocently by the people who take care of us because they got that conditioning. Now there's something wild and free that's connected to source, is the way I put it. It's that spark within us. For me, it's the spark of the divine that wants to express. It's life-giving. There's vitality, and the life force is all within that. And we only ever, that's within all of us, but this conditioning seems to cover it up.
Yeah.
You know, we start to live in that conditioning, and there's no life or vitality there. We're acting a role, and it's not life-giving. It's energy sucking. It's, here, let me go out into the world and pretend to be something I'm not, so that people might love and appreciate me, and then I might be happy. So when we start to reconnect with source, when we start to be genuine and go on this journey, we reconnect, or the conditioning that was obscuring that source energy, you know, starts to fall away.
Yeah.
So I go out into the world not looking for something which makes me vulnerable, but being something and connected to source energy, which contains wisdom. You know, so I'm protected by that because I've reconnected to my own inner wisdom, which is universal and divine, in my opinion. That's the way I describe it.
That's
And
I was going to say, that's so interesting what you said, because I truly do believe that there is two ways of looking for your passion and purpose. And there's the one where you are so desperate for it, you really want it. And when people talk to me about that, I can see the angst that is inside of them, the desperation that they want to find it because that will make them feel better. Or, you know, I remember years and years ago, I used to say to my old friend, my old mentor, you know, I just want to know what it is. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to be doing? And she kept saying it'll be revealed. Now, there's a difference between the feeling of that, which is really quite tight and forceful and lower vibration, lower energy, not so happy. And when you are just out there seeking yourself and being connected with yourself and being expanded and lighter and connecting with people out there, that desire to find your passion and purpose is just a desire that sits there. It's light, it's beautiful. And it's important for people listening to this, I think, which one are you stuck in?
Yes, yes. That's really important what you're talking about. See, this isn't something you have to go chasing for outside of yourself. It's almost the opposite of that. It's that when you reconnect with source energy,
Yeah.
then your passion and purpose is revealed to you as you live from that place rather than looking outside yourself and
Yeah.
desperately seeking. And I wanted to go back before you said, like, this is a process for me. This has been a process for me because as I explore what this means for myself, my conditioning, as soon as I get out of my comfort zone, Marion, this is, my conditioning rears its ugly head, right? So
So
this is why
true.
it's a process. It's a process of evolving. And you said some people wake up immediately and they are free of that conditioning. That's what we call awakenings
Mm.
or, enlightenment. But for most of us, this is a journey. And as I get a glimpse of this freedom and then begin to live more authentically, my conditioning, let's face it, this takes some courage, it takes
Mhm.
support. It's why we're here with one another, I believe.
Yeah.
So as I step out of my comfort zone, then that conditioning comes back online and says, oh, you better not say that. You better not do that. Are you kidding? What are they going to think and say? We're all familiar with that voice, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is just it. This seems to be, we just have to remember that that voice isn't the boss of us. It's like,
True.
you see,
I love that.
life is going to continue to give me opportunities to step out of that prison of my conditioned mind that keeps my life small, and there's no fresh air, it's lifeless.
Mm.
And the only thing that's doing that is this voice inside my head
Mm.
that's negative and critical, that I used to give all the authority to. You and I have talked about this many times. When I no longer give that thinking all of the authority in my life, a deeper wisdom makes itself known to me. And that deeper wisdom sometimes just comes in a prompting. Go here, go there, play, be more playful, be more lighthearted, try this, so there's a freedom in it and a lightheartedness. And again, my passion and purpose reveals itself when I'm living from that place.
Mm.
It can, and for me, it's going to look different for all of us. Some people are meant to be on a big stage and make a big splash in the world. And many more of us are going to live a very seemingly ordinary life that is extraordinary in its inner richness.
Yeah.
And we won't make such a big splash on the world scene, but we will impact the world around us in a very positive way through each one of our interactions. So, and it doesn't matter, like life. Here's what I found, Marion, is that life, when I'm committed to this inner authenticity and coming from source, my needs are always met. Like my ego thinks I should have a world stage and a big coaching practice and the universe, the divine energy flowing through me says, be still and know that the divine is always working through you.
Mm.
Be content and grounded where you find yourself in life and open your heart, you know, and as that loving divine energy expresses through me, I find my life is deep and rich. It doesn't matter if I have to go and maybe get a waitressing job or get it work in the social work field. Like those practical needs are very real. We have to pay the bills. So I'm talking about something that's also very, very practical. Don't let your ego get in the way. Like I work this summer, as you know, as I work as a ranger in a wilderness park here in Canada. And I was the cleaner last year. I was the cleaner. I was like a janitor, but in a wilderness park. I made so many beautiful connections.
Yeah.
I made so many beautiful connections with my fellow human beings. I fell into so many deep and meaningful conversations with people that I just met randomly. I was still a coach, Marian. I was
Yeah.
there living my life. So I don't know, it's going to look different for each one of us, but if you connect to that source energy within, if you commit to that, your purpose and your passion will effortlessly find you. Like it will find you as you go on that journey to authenticity
Yeah.
and become free of the conditioning.
And
I just love it.
I don't know whether you agree with this, but I definitely have seen in my own life that my passions and purpose have changed as I've changed, or the the things that I have absolutely thrown my heart into, that I believe absolutely 100% that I should be doing or need to be doing or want to do, don't want to use those words, the things that I'm just drawn to do, they have changed over time. I'm still behind it all, I guess, doing the same thing, which is connecting, helping people see who they really are, and, and helping them take the veils off. But yeah, a lot of my passions have moved. I have a new passion, which is houseplants. I absolutely have found my green finger. I love it. I'm so excited about it. It's not a fad. I'm loving it. So therefore, I have another beautiful passion in my life.
I love it, Miriam, because me too. Me too.
Ah, well,
And
don't you think
and
passion is, to me also, is about, whenever I have that amazing sort of feeling inside that's excited and or contented, and I just love what I'm doing, to me that's giving me feedback about what my passion is.
I think you're expressing something really important here, Marian. And what I found is that as I've been on this journey to a return to wholeness, out of that conditioning into a deeper sense of living authentically,
Mm.
there's a simplicity that's very profound.
Oh yes.
I am available to
Yeah.
see the beauty in the world around me and the living things that I am also a part of and connected with, and it's plants and animals and the
Yeah.
natural world. All of a sudden I'm seeing the beauty
Mm.
that's all around me. And one of the effects that has is that what I need to be happy and content becomes much simpler.
Yeah.
You see, we're tapping into this deep sense of connectedness within, and all of a sudden we have an appreciation for plants, or other living creatures, as well as human beings, because we are starting to sense our interconnectedness with those things.
Yeah.
So what we need from outside of ourselves starts to diminish. You
Absolutely.
know, we're being deeply nourished by this inner sense of connectedness to all that is. So our need for those outside things starts to fall away. It doesn't mean that we can't have all sorts of beautiful external material things in our life. We can, but it's coming from an internal place of, as I live my genuine purpose and passion, all these things are added unto me. You know, it's like, seek first this, I'm not I've been influenced by Christianity in my life, but wisdom brings these Bible verses to life for me in a new way. It's seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. And that was just me. That meant me seeking my own truth, my own healing, my own reconnection with source energy. And as I committed to that, all of these practical things, they weren't abandoned. Life didn't abandon me. It was like, as I really committed to showing up in the world in a genuine, authentic way, my needs were met in
Yeah,
very real and practical ways.
you know that I made a huge change and in my life, and I had that calling for a while. Um, Now, when I did make that, without a shadow of a doubt, I entered into that next, what I call the next stage for me, which was, it was about the connection more to plants, the outside, the wanting to be more in that present state of grace. And I don't mean that by a religious sense. It can be a religious sense for some people, but for me, that feeling was in being in a peaceful state of appreciation and gratefulness for everything around me. And I have found, being within that state, that new passions and more purpose actually has arisen from that place. So, and I think that's really important, that we're going back to the beginning again, in a sense of, if somebody is searching for their passion and purpose, then they to start looking inside of themselves to their authenticity, and expanding themselves in the world is a good place to start.
Yes. What genuinely resonates? What is calling to you that you know intuitively is supporting your authenticity? It's supporting your desire to
Yeah.
show up in the world relaxed and at ease. We all want this. So every single human being is right where they need to be if they're willing to look inward and say, what is calling to me? What is supporting this desire that I have to be genuine and authentic and in the world in all my glory,
I
just
love
as I
that.
am? There is a grace to that. And it's a process, it's a journey. And you and I have talked a bit about addictions and things, this seeking outside of ourselves, which is a really natural response to trauma and to feelings that are overwhelming. But once we see clearly that those things aren't really giving us what we're seeking, what we're looking for, you know, all we need to know is, I've been there, I've done that. I know what another bottle of wine gets me. And I don't mean that, I'm just being real and talking about myself. And I had to go a long way down that road, Marion, before it was clear to me, okay, something deeper is calling to me. I'm ready to move in that direction, and I'm ready to um, honor that within myself.
Mm.
And when we do that, Marion, the universe responds, because there's no choice. We start to become aligned with something that already exists within us.
Yeah.
And once you align with that, things start to fall into place. And those synchronicities that we've all experienced start to happen more and more often. And Marion, the doors open. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to really, really commit to being on this journey. And we get sidetracked and we fall away, and we can come back in any moment,
Yeah.
right where we are, and say, I'm going to get back on the path of authenticity, of being genuine. There's so much richness there. Everything that I was afraid of dissolved. And what I found there, I lost some things. I lost friendships. I lost old cliques,
Yeah.
old things that were supposed to keep me safe, but didn't. They just limited the life force within me. And as I cultivated enough courage to step out of those roles, something much deeper and richer and meaningful showed up. And it included my purpose and living a life that, when I say passion, when we say passionate, it's really life force, life giving. And that life force starts to flow through you, and you feel passionate, and you're living out your purpose, no matter what the external circumstances of your life look like.
Mm. I love
So
that.
where
Thank you
you
so
are,
much for that.
yeah.
If there's anything I can leave with the people who are listening today is, and they're at the very start of their journey, is to look at what illuminates inside of themselves. So if they're listening to this and this sort of conversation illuminates something inside of them and it resonates and makes them feel excited, or they read a self-help book that does that, or whatever it is, or picks up some sewing, then go in that direction.
We all have this within us, the light within.
Yeah.
No matter how dark it seems, the path we've been on seems, this spark never goes out within us. And all we need to do is move towards whatever fans the flame, whatever makes that spark brighten.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And what the other thing it looks like, Marion, it looks like self-love and healing. Self-love, man. Love yourself enough to stop trying to please everybody else and to get on that journey of wholeness and healing. And when you love yourself and get on that journey of caring for yourself and caring enough and valuing yourself, honoring yourself enough to show up in the world, what will flow from that will also be of service to the world around you.
Yeah.
It starts with self-love and self-compassion.
As Catherine Annis said, self-love, man.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great place to stop. Oh, thank you, Catherine. Thank you once again for an amazing conversation.
Thanks for having me.
It resonates with people out there. Thank you.
I hope so too.
I shall see you again next week.